of my slides here. I have the information put in, and I have builds and transitions on each one of my slides. And now it is time to put in pictures or clip art or cartoons or whatever I want to put in on the side here. But I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to do it so that you are not pigeonholed into one select way of doing it. You know, Google search, just throwing something in there. Depending on the browser you're using, it may be difficult to drop an image from the internet onto your project. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to do it, and you should be putting pictures on slides 2 through 5. Okay, 1 will leave blank, but 2 through 5 you'll have one image on each slide. You don't want to overwhelm your slide with too many images either, because that just gets sloppy, and you don't want people focusing on the images on the slide unless that is the importance. But here I want people focusing on the content of my slides and not images or too many images. So I want one image on each slide, 2 through 5. Of course, on the right hand side of this video, you'll notice there are 4 links. So there are 4 links. Click on each one of these links. I want one image from each one of the links on slides 2 through 5. But you can go through and figure out which slides you want to put which image on, or which pictures from the websites fit your theme or your information the best. So I'm going to start off with this link right here. I'll click on Discovery, and I'm on the Discovery clip art, and there are lots of images that I can select from here. Some of them may have something to do with your first slide, maybe they have something to do with your 5th slide, doesn't matter. But I am going to pick out something that fits in with my theme. So for the first slide, I have slide 2 here. I'm going to say intelligent, super intelligent, if you were. Of course, super intelligent people, they always get 100% on their tests. So I'm just going to use this 100% stamp here. So I click on the stamp, and here I have my graphic right here. So some web browsers will allow me to drag the stamp directly from the browser into my Keynote. So if this works, fine, have at it. But sometimes it will not work. As you see here, it did not work on this case. So what I need to do is I'm going to right-click or hold down the control and click on this picture here, and I'm going to copy the picture and paste it into my project. So I will hit copy here, and then I'll come back over and I will right click on my slide, or I will hold down the control button and I will paste the picture in. So when the picture comes in, I can align it. Now there's a few different ways to do this. Looking at this picture, it just looks like the picture was slapped onto my project. I don't want to turn in something that looks this haphazard, that I just threw a picture onto my project. So what I want to do is at least get rid of this white background. In this case, I can use the Instant Alpha. I go up to the upper bar right here, the Instant Alpha, or it's in the Arrange menu at the top of the screen, but right here is easier. I could just click on Instant Alpha, and now I'm going to click and open my Instant Alpha until it takes away all the white background. If I click out and I see, oh, you know what, there's still white in these zeros here, let's get rid of that too. So I go ahead and I click and drag open until it takes away all the white area. And now you'll see the stamp. It looks much more professional without the white background around it. So my piece of clip art, it's in there, and it looks a lot better because I got rid of the white background. But now I'm actually going to add something else to it. I'm going to go to my inspector. I'm going to click on the inspector right here, and I'll get my inspector window open. Now with the object selected, whatever piece of clip art I'm working with here, I can create a shadow effect right here. I click on shadow, and it creates a shadow that I can then adjust, go up and down, put the blur, opacity, whatever it is, but I can make it look three-dimensional, like it's floating on the screen now. So it looks a little bit more professional than just a flat piece of clip art. Make sure that you do this on at least one of your pieces of clip art. So get a piece of clip art, throw it in there, use the Instant Alpha to get rid of the white background, and then add a shadow to it. Okay, next up is an animation. I'm going to try to find an animation to go with the word wrestling here. in the case of I'm good at. So let's go back to my website and let's try to find an animation. And here is the animation link. I click on this, it opens up animations, and I can just go through the left-hand side column here and try to find whatever I might be good at. It doesn't matter which slide you do this on, just that you make sure that you use one type of animation throughout your slideshow. So I'll grab a hold of my wrestler here, and I'm going to try to put him in. Now the funny thing about these types of pieces of clip art, they're animations, which means that they are a series of pictures. So you can't just change one of the series of pictures, you have to change them all. So you have to download the entire file. Because if you were to take this picture and just drag it into my project, it would go in, but it doesn't move. It doesn't move within the piece of clip art, even by double clicking on it or using my inspector where I would be able to make it move. It's not going to work. It's just not going to move because I drug one of the multiple pieces of clip art that are used to make up this entire animation. So I have to save this a special way. I can take this, drag it to my server folder, and then put it onto my project. Okay, so I'm going to take my server folder here, and I'm going to go into my documents, and I can save it to whatever folder I'm using for this project, or I could just save it to the documents folder anywhere. So I click on this and I just drag it to my documents folder, and now it has downloaded the entire GIF file. These are what they call GIF files. You may see this on some websites. It's a series of pictures. So I take this GIF file and now I can move it into my Keynote presentation. Okay, it comes in with a white background around it. I'll fix that later. When I double click on it though, you see it does actually move. So I double click and it will move. I can take this guy, delete him, I don't want him anymore. But it comes in floating on the page again. This looks disgusting. This does not look professional at all, and it doesn't fit the theme. So here is what I'm going to do to make the change. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the master of the theme. Okay, so I have the themes here, and I already chose this retro theme out of these areas. But then the masters have a selection of templates that still fit this theme but have different layouts. So the layout I'm looking for is going to be the title, bullets, and photo. It's down at the bottom. So here it is down here at the bottom. It's title, bullets, and photo. I click on this and it shows me a picture already determined here. It's a placeholder and it's in the background and it comes with this fancy frame around it that fits the rest of the theme, which makes it look awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my animation. I'm going to cut it out of its current location. So I control click and I could use the cut feature, or Command X will actually cut things. And it cuts it out. And then I click on the picture, which is a placeholder. It's a frame, everything else. I can paste this image. So I can right click or control click and then paste the image right on there. And it will go right into my theme, and it keeps the frame, and it still works. So now it fits the theme, it looks professional, and it still has that white background that I couldn't possibly get rid of because it's part of the animation. So now I have my animation into the theme and it looks great. I could double click on it to sample it and see what it looks like, and that will show me what it moves like. But now I want to take it up a notch. I want to loop that so that while this project is going on, when these words are floating in, this guy continues to wrestle over here on the edge. So what I'm going to do is go to my inspector, and I'm going to go to the QuickTime inspector over here on the right hand side. And you will see that when I click on it, it will show me that it's moving. So I can also say, I want to loop it now. So when I click on it, it continues to go back and forth and continue to move throughout the entire slide. Here's a little side note. In case you have to save an image like this or anything to my project, I could also save it a different way. I don't necessarily have to drag it into my folder. I could also right click on it or hit Control and click on this item and then say Save Image As. Depending on the web browser, it may be worded a little bit different, but basically it's going to be Save Image As. I click on Save Image As, and it gives me a drop-down window, and now I'm going to save this GIF file to my server folder. So I could hit the drop-down here, select the Student 7, select this, or if I've downloaded something already to that folder, I could find it right there, hit my documents, but make sure that this is your server folder. You recognize the other files in there, and then I go ahead and click Save. It's going to ask me to replace because I already did it once, but you can see what I mean, and then it shows up in my server folder right here, and then I could drag it to my project as well. And I'm going to go back to the well of my piece of clip art items here on the right hand side of my video. I'm going to select the next one because remember I need to use one of every different type of clip art here. So I go to my next link. When I click on this clip art connection link, I need to make sure I'm going to use donut this time. I'm going to use the search function over here, and you probably want to select the singular form of the word, because if I say donuts, it might only show me pictures of multiple donuts, whereas I want single donuts, double donuts, I want that, so I just hit donut, and then it will show me all these great selections of donuts over here. So I'm going to select the picture, but I don't necessarily want to drag the first thing that I see because this is a very small image, and when I drag it onto my project and then try to expand it, it just doesn't look right. Okay, it gets blurry. However, if I go back and I click on the item, and then I get a larger item like this, when I drag it on, now it looks much crisper. Okay, but I do get this watermark. Don't really care. I'll leave the watermark on there. But you see what I mean with the clarity of this donut. And now once again, I'll use my Instant Alpha to get rid of the white background right here. So I'll click Instant Alpha, and I will get rid of the white background all around. And you know what? Maybe I even want to get rid of this tan background too. So I'll click on that too. Look at that. It's going to highlight all of those donuts and take away that as well. You can even take away the shadow because I'll have a better shadow when I go to my inspector and I go to my metric inspector and then I click on the shadow right here. I click on my item, click on the shadow, and now it has a very soft shadow coming out on the right hand side here. So that looks sharp. Don't forget to use the Instant Alpha and the shadow to make a three-dimensional looking piece of clip art. Finally, I'm going to select the photographs over here. So I'm going to click on the bottom link. I need one of these for my presentation. And my final slide here, I have Cancun, New Jersey, Orlando, lots of places. But I'm going to select Cancun as my focus. I'm going to select a beach. That's what I want to. I want to find a picture of a beach. So I go to my photos here, and I'm going to put in beach. Again, using a singular form of a keyword here to find just the selection I want. And boy, oh boy, doesn't this look like Cancun. So I click on this image to get the larger image. Okay, and then I take this and I drag it into my project. And I could drag it in like this. I could copy it, right-click, copy it, and paste it into my project, or remember I could also do save image as, send it back to my folder, and then drag it in. However you want to do that, you can keep that in the back of your mind when you're doing these projects for other classes. So I go ahead and I drag this into my project now, but again, floating looks redunculous. So let's fix it up here. Now I have a few different options here of fixing up this picture, and it all revolves around my graphic inspector. Okay, instead of using my masters and putting the title, bullets, and photo of my masters on there, I am going to try a different feature here. So on one of your slides, I want you to use a stroke, and that's also in your graphic inspector. I click on graphic inspector, and then I'm going to choose a stroke. I could choose a line or a picture frame. I click on line just to see what it looks like here. You could choose a bunch of different options here, like this. You know, it makes it go 3/4 of the way around like that, and I could increase the thickness of the line, and I could even change the color of that line to fit my theme. Because you see I have this white line going through here. It'd probably look best if I use a white line around this picture. So I could do a line, a stroke line, or I can choose a picture frame. And there's a bunch of different picture frames. This one shows the picture wafting out on the sides, and I can also choose something that looks like it makes the picture tucked into the project, and some that look like little corners here, like a scrapbook, picture being stuck on the page. Use something that comes from the stroke field on your photograph, no matter which slide you use it on. I used it on my last slide. If you have the photograph on your third slide, then you use the stroke on your third slide. In a quick review here, I want to make sure that I have one of each different type of piece of clip art that I found over here. One of every four. I want to use all four of these links on my presentation here. And I want to use the shadow. I want to use the instant alpha. If I can't use the instant alpha, I will either want to use a different masters with bullets and photo, or I want to use a different stroke that puts a little frame around my picture. And I want to make sure that I have the most clear picture as well, as was the case in the donuts. So